So the main thing we did is to rebuild that whole loop, change the monetization model, build a system where essentially pros could provide instant quotes. Like Lenny, I'm sure like from Airbnb, this is very familiar, the move from request to book to like instant booking. It was a very similar thing in a different kind of category of service and supply, obviously. But that shift and doing that shift across those thousands of marketplaces and then finding the right friction point for monetization and when and what to charge people for and all of that change, that is what really, at its core turned the growth engine around at Thumbtack. And it's just a real testament to those founders that they kind of believed that, like saw that, and were willing to kind of like, run uphill and chew glass to get to that point. Like I don't know the details of the business anymore, and if I did, I wouldn't speak to it. But from what I hear, things are going well. So I think that served the company well.
Yeah, as you were talking about that's exactly an experience Airbnb went through. I actually led that effort at Airbnb. I took 3 years of my life.
Oh my gosh, we should talk about that one day.
Yeah, I've written about it here and there, but honestly, very quietly is one of the biggest transformations Airbnb went through, shifting from I'm going to go request a book to basically every booking now on Airbnb is instant. And that was a very difficult and painful journey. But looking back, I don't think Airbnb would have made it if not for that. And unlike Thumbtack, we did it before things were starting to fall apart. And actually I was going to say the lens that we used that I find really helpful here is you should be asking yourself, if somebody was to come into our space and disrupt us and start now to become the new Airbnb, what would they do?
Yeah, totally.
And it was obvious they'd be, make it instant. Just that's the way it works.
Yep.
So, welcome to Airbnb disruptor.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
Another learning there is any product you work on that involves like bits and atoms is exponentially harder than products that just involve bits. But it's amazing how something as like seemingly simple as make it instant ends up being so incredibly deep and complicated. And especially on an existing business, like kind of making that transition while still growing is just very, very complicated. Like fantastic learning I'm sure you had as well.
Very difficult to change people's expectations and behavior. This could be its own podcast episode, just changing marketplaces into an instant experience.